In the dusty vaults of the Vatican Apostolic Library, among manuscripts that should never have been preserved, I found the account that would change my life forever. I was only a research assistant, hired to digitize ancient documents when an unmarked file appeared among 17th century parchments. What follows is the exact transcription of those yellowed pages, written in ecclesiastical Latin and archaic Italian, detailing events that took place in the catacombs beneath the Church of St. John Rotondo, where Father Pio spent his final years. The records begin in March 1962. Father Pio, famed for the stigmata he bore and the miracles he performed, had been summoned by the Holy Office to investigate an archaeological find near Mount Gargano. At first, it seemed just another routine discovery for the region, a small pre-Christian burial chamber uncovered during renovations of an old monastery. But what lay hidden in the depths of that excavation should never have seen the light of day. Raphael Rossi, the archaeologist in charge, was the first to notice anomalies. The chamber's walls bore inscriptions in an unknown language, unlike any recorded alphabet. But what disturbed Rossi most was the presence of a black stone sarcophagus at the chamber's center. Unlike any other found in Mediterranean digs, this sarcophagus was carved from volcanic rock that, preliminary analysis showed, does not exist in any geological formation in the region. The Holy Office demanded absolute secrecy, one of Father Pio's assistants wrote in the documents I discovered. When the father arrived, he ordered everyone to leave. He remained alone in the chamber for nearly 3 hours. When he finally emerged, his face was as pale as wax. The stigmata on his hands bled profusely, staining the stone floor. His first words were, "Selemei Tamjed al-Karim." No one understood the meaning of those words. In the weeks that followed, according to the reports, Father Pio's behavior grew increasingly erratic. He refused to sleep, insisting that they would come for him in his dreams. He lost weight rapidly and on several occasions was found speaking to himself in unknown tongues. The superiors of the Franciscan order grew seriously concerned for his mental health, but no one dared question a man whose reputation for holiness spread throughout Italy. In April 1962, a team of Vatican scientists was dispatched to examine the sarcophagus. Led by Jesuit Paul Veneziani, a respected paleontologist and archaeologist, the researchers were under direct orders from Pope John XV to determine the artifact's origin. The scientific report, annexed to the documents I found, presented disturbing conclusions. Carbon-14 dating produced inconsistent results, Veneziani wrote. Samples from the same rock fragment indicate ages ranging from 3,000 years to 40,000 years. The molecular composition shows elements unknown to our current periodic table. But most troubling are the X-rays of the sarcophagus's interior. Something inside does not correspond to any known human anatomical structure. The Vatican hesitated for weeks on how to proceed. Meanwhile, unexplainable phenomena began occurring in St. John Rotondo. Reports of nocturnal lights hovering over the monastery. Animals found dead for no apparent reason around the excavation site. Local children describing identical nightmares involving tall figures with glowing eyes, inviting them to learn the secrets of the other side. On May 17, 1962, the decision was made. The sarcophagus would be opened. Father Pio begged against it. In the pages I uncovered, there are records of his pleas to his superiors. For the love of God and the salvation of our souls, do not disturb the guardian's rest. What lies there was sealed for reasons beyond our comprehension. There are things humanity must not know, truths that shatter the sanity of those who behold them. His warnings were ignored. In the early hours of May 18, with only 7 people present, 3 priests, 2 scientists, and 2 high-ranking officers of the Italian army, the sarcophagus was opened. The document describing the event is partially burned, as though someone tried to destroy it. The legible passages, however, are chilling. When the lid was removed, a bluish light emanated from within, pulsing like a living heart. The first to peer inside was Dr. Caligari, who immediately recoiled, clutching his eyes and screaming in agony. Once restrained, we realized he was blind, his corneas severely burned. The contents of the sarcophagus did not resemble a human body, but a black crystalline structure, similar to a life-sized diamond. The crystal pulsed with its own light and seemed to contain a moving liquid within. Those present decided to extract a small sample of the crystal for analysis using a diamond drill. It was then that true horror began. As the drill pierced the crystal's surface, a high-pitched sound filled the chamber, like thousands of voices screaming in unison. The liquid that seeped from the breach had the consistency of mercury, but evaporated upon contact with any surface, leaving corrosive marks. Lieutenant Colonel Fabri, overseeing the extraction, was the first to be affected. His demeanor changed instantly. Without uttering a word, he seized his weapon and shot Dr. Veneziani, killing him instantly. Then he turned the gun on himself. According to the accounts, Father Pio, witnessing the chaos, began reciting exorcisms in Latin and ancient Aramaic. The crystal's pulsing light intensified, then suddenly extinguished. The ensuing silence was more terrifying than the preceding. Chaos. When we daringly approached the sarcophagus again, the crystal had vanished. In its place lay the perfectly preserved body of a man. He appeared neither young nor old. His skin was marble pale, and his features did not match any known ethnicity. Though his eyes were closed, they moved rapidly beneath the lids, as if in dream. Over the next 48 hours, the body was transferred to an improvised laboratory in the catacombs beneath St. John Rotondo. A medical team was secretly summoned by the Vatican to examine the specimen. The medical report, signed by Dr. Emile Sandri, describes anatomical anomalies that defy understanding. The subject possesses a skeletal structure similar to a human's, but with significant differences in the spine, which has 37 vertebrae instead of the usual 33. The skull contains an additional cavity behind the cerebellum, filled with a bluish fluid that emits faint bioluminescence. Blood analysis reveals cells unknown to modern medical science, with unprecedented regenerative capacity. The document continues describing how, during the examination, the body began showing signs of life. First, faint heartbeats, then shallow breathing. The doctors, stunned, watched a creature seemingly dead for millennia gradually return to life. Father Pio, the reports say, never left the body's side. He prayed incessantly, often in tongues no one recognized. At one point, he leaned close to the creature's ear and whispered words the witnesses could not hear. The response, however, was witnessed by all. The being opened its eyes, completely black, with no visible iris or sclera. Its mouth moved, uttering words in a melodious ancient language. Father Pio answered in the same tongue, his face contorted with deep terror. The creature then smiled, revealing perfectly human teeth except for elongated, razor-sharp canines. It rose from the examination table with supernatural fluidity and touched the father's forehead. What happened next is described in confused, contradictory terms. Some present claimed to see Father Pio and the creature momentarily merge into a single being of intense light. Others described an exchange of energy between them, like a blue electrical discharge. All agree that, after this contact, the creature collapsed, apparently lifeless once more, and Father Pio fell to his knees, his eyes completely white. When Father Pio regained consciousness hours later, he claimed to have received knowledge, terrible knowledge about humanity's true history and its role in the cosmos. He refused to share most of what he learned, insisting such information would destroy anyone's faith and sanity. However, he dictated some revelations to his confessor, Father Carmelo, with instructions that they be sealed and delivered to the Pope. These revelations form the most disturbing part of the documents I found. I transcribe only fragments here, as some passages are so blasphemous, my hand trembles at the thought. What we call angels and demons are fragments of the same primordial entity which existed before time as we understand it. The Bible, the Quran, the Vedas, all are imperfect translations of a much older and more complex truth. Humanity was not created in God's image. We were designed as vessels, biological containers capable of temporarily housing fragments of these ancient consciousnesses. According to the account, the creature found in the sarcophagus was one of the 7 guardians mentioned in pre-Diluvian apocryphal texts, beings tasked with monitoring and containing even older forces that threaten reality as we know it. Over millennia, these guardians have occasionally interacted with humans, being mistakenly worshipped as deities or demonized as monsters. The knowledge imparted to me, Father Pio wrote, reveals that we are on the verge of a great cosmic awakening. The seals that keep the primordial forces dormant are deteriorating. The guardian we found is only the first to return. The other 6 will awaken soon, each bringing a key to the final portal. In the months following the incident, Father Pio was kept under strict Vatican surveillance. His health deteriorated rapidly. The stigmata, which once bled in regular patterns, now emitted a bluish fluid similar to that found in the crystal and the creature's skull. In his final coherent sermons, he often interrupted himself to speak in unknown tongues, staring at empty spaces in the church as though sensing invisible presences. In one of his last lucid writings, Father Pio mentioned something that made me question everything I thought I knew about reality. They observe through every human eye. They are present in every beat of our hearts. They are neither our creators nor our destroyers. They are what we will become. Time is not linear but circular. The future has already happened, and the past is yet to come. Those who seek truth must be prepared for knowledge that destroys more than it enlightens. If you have followed these hidden accounts and wish to continue receiving revelations about the secrets powerful institutions conceal from humanity, stay connected. There is much more in the depths of the forbidden archives, waiting for eyes brave enough to behold them. In 1968, Father Pio officially died of natural causes. The documents I found, however, tell a different story. According to the confidential medical report, his body displayed inexplicable anomalies. His internal organs had transformed into a crystalline blue substance. His brain had developed an additional structure identical to that found in the creature's skull. The autopsy was halted by direct orders from Pope Paul VI. His body was embalmed quickly, and all involved were reassigned to different institutions around the world, effectively silenced. The sarcophagus and the creature were transported to a secret Vatican facility in the underground vaults, known only as the Lazarus Archive, where objects and entities deemed too dangerous to exist, yet impossible to destroy, are kept. But the story did not end with Father Pio's death. In the years that followed, each scientist and cleric involved in the original incident died under mysterious circumstances or vanished without a trace. Dr. Sandri, the last survivor, was found in his Rome apartment in 1974, apparently having committed suicide. The note he left contained only one phrase, repeated hundreds of times: "They return through the portals of the human mind." In 2008, during restoration work at the Church of St. John Rotondo, workers discovered a sealed chamber in the catacombs beneath the altar. Inside was a small lead box containing a vial of bluish liquid and a manuscript by Father Pio. dated 1 week before his death. The document was immediately confiscated by the Vatican, but not before a worker photographed its contents. It was that photograph, circulated in obscure internet forums, that led me to start my research in the Apostolic Library's archives. The manuscript contained precise geographical coordinates for 7 sites around the world, all aligned with ancient geological formations. Each coordinate was accompanied by a date. The first corresponded to the sarcophagus's location, found in 1962. The second pointed to a cave in inland Ethiopia, dated September 15, 2023. In August 2023, a private archaeological expedition funded by a shadowy Swiss foundation set out to those coordinates in Ethiopia. According to local sources, all expedition members disappeared after entering a cave considered sacred by the region's inhabitants. When authorities investigated, they found only abandoned equipment and, at the cave's center, fresh excavation marks. Whatever lay buried there had been removed. On September 16, 2023, observatories worldwide reported an inexplicable phenomenon. For approximately 17 minutes, starlight took on a bluish hue. The event was attributed to an atmospheric anomaly and quickly forgotten by the mainstream media. But in restricted scientific circles, disturbing theories circulated. In the following weeks, psychiatric hospitals recorded an alarming spike in psychosis cases involving patients who claimed to hear musical voices from the sky and see geometric angels. Many of these patients, despite no contact with one another, described exactly the same entities, humanoid figures with marble-pale skin and completely black eyes, revealing the hidden truth behind creation. As I organized the documents for this transcription, I noticed a chilling pattern in Father Pio's dates. The third coordinate, pointing to a site in the Gobi Desert, was scheduled for March 4, 2024. On that very day, seismographs there recorded an anomalous tremor that did not match natural earthquake patterns. The Chinese government immediately sealed off the area, citing military exercises. Satellite images taken before the lockdown show what appears to be a massive circular excavation with, at its center, an object reflecting light unusually, emitting a bluish glow even in infrared. The pieces fit together in a terrifying way. 3 of the 7 guardians Father Pio spoke of have apparently awakened. According to his prophecies, when the 7th is found and awakened, the veil between realities will be permanently torn. As I finish this transcription, I realize I'm being watched. Library staff I have never seen before monitor my every move. My personal computer shows signs of being hacked. Last night, I awoke sensing a presence in my room. A tall, slender silhouette standing at the foot of my bed, its eyes seeming to absorb every bit of light. This morning, I found a symbol drawn in the bathroom mirror's condensation. The same symbol described in the original sarcophagus account. I know my time is running out. I am releasing this information in hopes that someone will see the pattern before it is too late. Father Pio's next coordinates are an uncharted island in the South Pacific, date August 21st, 2024, an underwater cave off Iceland's coast, date January 7th, 2025, a specific point in the Amazon rainforest, date March 19th, 2025. And finally, a site at the South Pole, date December 31st, 2025. As I write this, the penultimate date has already passed. Recent news mentions a groundbreaking scientific discovery in the Amazon, followed by the disappearance of the entire research team. The Brazilian government denied access to the area, citing biological hazards. Only the last site remains, the final guardian. If it awakens, the cycle will be complete. You reading this might wonder if any of it is real or elaborate, fiction, I can only say I investigated every fragment of this story as far as my sanity allowed. There are truths so profound and terrifying that the human mind refuses to accept them, preferring to label them delusions or fantasies. But consider, what if the great religions, the ancient myths, the stories of angels and demons were all imperfect attempts to describe something real but beyond our comprehension? What if humanity's story is only a chapter in a far vaster and more terrible cosmic narrative? The documents end with Father Pio's trembling handwriting. Unlike his usual script, when the last one awakens, truth will arrive like fire. What we call reality is only the dream of ancient entities. We are about to awaken to the true nightmare. May God, if that name still means anything, have mercy on our souls. As I conclude this transcription, I see a bluish pattern of light pulsing on my bedroom wall. It emanates from no visible external source. My hands tingle and I taste metal in my mouth. I have the unsettling feeling that I am no longer alone in my mind. Have you ever felt that your thoughts are not entirely your own? That something ancient and vast watches through your eyes, waiting for the right moment to manifest? Think of this the next time you dream of black-eyed creatures whispering secrets that feel both familiar and inexplicably true. Only a few months remain until the final date. The last guardian lies beneath Antarctica's eternal ice. When it awakens, will we recognize the world we inhabit, or finally see reality as it has always been?